another video a few days ago talking about the Sam Raimi trilogy, and now I'm talking about this. I'll do the MC, do Homecoming and Far From Home later. You're definitely gonna see this after the trailer for No Way Home has already come out. The second trailer. That's coming out in a few hours. Roughly 2 hours from now that I'm recording this. So that'll be fun. You'll see a reaction video to that before this. Anyways, let's not discuss the trailer. Let's not discuss the second trailer on account of I haven't seen it yet. Let's talk The Amazing Spider-Man. First, I want to kind of defend these two movies on account of a lot of people hate them. A lot of people say they're not good. I don't get it. I don't understand it. I don't believe you. I don't believe that's bad. Let's do like we did last time and kind of sort of try and go in order, starting with the first one. And the first thing that comes to mind, a lot of people harp on how the suit looks. A lot of people point out that the suit doesn't look good in this first movie. And okay, sure, you can think that. I think it looks fine. I'll admit it doesn't look great, but like, whatever, man. It doesn't look terrible. It's not bad. It ain't super good either. I will say, I like the second one a lot more than I like the first one. Something about it, I can definitely see why I can see why people have some sort of strong distaste for them. At least the first one. Because of how much of a tone shift it is from the Sam Raimi trilogy. The Sam Raimi trilogy was all bright and colorful and like sanitized. The Sam Raimi trilogy, I can say words real good. The Sam Raimi trilogy is much more cartoony. It's a much more of a cartoon world. Especially compared to other comic book movies that we've gotten. Other comic book movies that we had at the time, kind of. And then Amazing Spider-Man comes onto the scene, and it's not that. It's a much more, I hate to say dark and gritty version of Spider-Man, but that's kind of what it is. I wouldn't say they lean too deep into it, necessarily. It's not like it's trying super hard to be like dark and edgy or whatever. But it is a much more dark and gritty take on the character, which I think is fine. It doesn't destroy this movie, I don't think. A lot of people are going to say that it does. You're welcome to think that. I personally don't. This is my video. You don't get a say in this. Except for in the comment section. You could say whatever the heck you want in there. Within reason. Please be nice. I will say, one thing these movies do absolutely correct is like Spider-Man's personality, I'd say. At least when he's in the suit. When he's in the suit, he's clever and quippy and like this confident badass. And I get the whole idea is that when he's outside the suit, when he's Peter Parker, he's supposed to be this shy, awkward nerd dude. So why does he look like a hipster and skateboarding through the halls? Okay, sure. I get that, but apparently from what I've heard from another YouTube channel who knows a lot about this stuff, another YouTube channel that does their homework a lot. This version of Peter Parker is a lot closer to how he actually was in the original comic books. So take that as you will. The shy, nerdy version of Peter Parker that we see is probably wasn't. I mean, Peter Parker was always a nerd, but him being like shy and awkward and everything, that probably didn't come about until the Sam Raimi trilogy. So there's that. We can take that into consideration. I don't want to throw shade towards anyone for how they believe a character should be, but I feel as though this should be acknowledged to some degree. Anyways, also upon my watching of the Sam Raimi trilogy, I kind of noticed that a lot of times Spidey moves kind of slow and sluggish for Spider-Man. Kind of, and like most of that we can chalk it up to just they were just actually recording him just Tobey Maguire in the suit, and he can only do so much. He can only do so much. But like, yeah, on repeat watching now, if you look back on them, you can definitely tell the difference between Toby in the suit and just CGI. And here in the Mark Webb movies, in the Amazing Spider-Man movies, that line between the two is much blurrier. I mean, there's some stuff that you can look at him doing, and you can clearly tell, okay, they had to do like CGI for that or whatever. But it's not like the stark contrast of like you see Peter Parker do this, make this jump here, and then he's doing this thing over there. It doesn't feel like two different Spider-Men necessarily. It doesn't look like two separate people being able to do two separate things. It looks like the same person being able to do the same thing, and like it looks better. The connection between actual live action and just the photorealistic animation is better. They're connected more visually, I feel like. But then MCU Spider-Man always looks like CGI. Shut up, shut your face. I don't want none of that. Shut up. I think I've seen people overall kind of hate on. I don't see a lot of love for the villains in these two movies. Which I feel like is a bit of a shame. I honestly like how they did the Lizard in this first movie. In the first one, I like how they did the Lizard, honestly. I think it's alright. Maybe his face could stand to have a better design, maybe? But, like, I don't know, man. It doesn't bother me all that much. I think it's fine. Honestly, if they went for a more actual reptilian look, like they gave him the snoot, it would probably look silly. It would probably just look really silly and ridiculous and out of place, and you wouldn't be able to take it seriously. Also, character-wise, I like them. Like the characterization of the Lizard in this movie, I feel like was really good. So you can tell a clear difference clear visual difference between Amazing Spider-Man and Amazing Spider-Man 2. If nothing else, the color grading. It's a lot of muted colors in the first movie, and the second one is much more bright. It's much more bright and vibrant with its colors. That's not really a slight towards the movie in any way. That's not me trying to point out something negative. It's just something that I want to point out. It's just something to notice. I noticed it. I'm sure you noticed it. A lot of people noticed it. I'm sure of it. That also being said, I kind of like the villains in the second movie also. Mostly Electro, I thought did well. If nothing else, visually, he's really good. That design for Electro looks really darn good. Pretty sure that it has been actually officially confirmed that that version of Jamie Foxx is coming back as Electro in No Way Home. And from what we've seen in the first trailer and the posters, there's a lot of yellow electricity. So maybe they're gonna change up how Electro looks, how Jamie Foxx Electro looks. He did say he wasn't gonna be blue this time, which I feel like it's kind of a shame. I like the blue Electro. We'll see. He'll probably look good, and probably look good here too. Also, I'd imagine. We do also know that Lizard is coming back from Amazing Spider-Man 1, so that should be fun. When are they going to change it? When are they going to change his design? When are they going to make him a more vibrant green? So probably will. I imagine they'd probably make him a more vibrant green. Make him look like touch him up a bit, make him a bit better. Or maybe they'll just really take them out from the first. Maybe they'll just take them out from Amazing Spider-Man and just plop it in there, and boop, there you go. I don't know. Who knows? You don't know. You don't know. Maybe you do know. Maybe we saw it in the second trailer. I don't know. I haven't seen it yet. And I know people have made fun of the Green Goblin to death in the second movie. Amazing Spider-Man 2, Green Goblin, I understand people don't like it. I can understand you not liking the lead up to him becoming Green Goblin. I understand not liking that. Totally, honestly, I do. Truly, I understand not liking that. It doesn't bother me, but I can see why it would bother you. But again, visually, His design, not terrible, I don't think. It's a new take on the character that I don't particularly hate. Is it super great? No. Is it terrible? I don't think so. They were definitely going for a more real-world angle for these two movies and the subsequent sequels and spin-offs that they were planning on. That ended up not happening, unfortunately, for them. Sorry, Sony. And maybe you can bring back Andrew Garfield Spider-Man in Venom. Or Morbius. Well, those two, unless something happened. Supposedly there's a hell of an end credit scene in Let There Be Carnage. I haven't been able to see that one. I wasn't able to go to see that. And as far as I know, it's not on any streaming services right now, so I've been just narrowly avoiding spoilers. But from context clues I've seen, and it's very blurry images, I have a good idea of what it was, so great. Man, the legacy of the cinematic legacy of Spider-Man is a whole mess. All the stuff in the cartoon is freaking ridiculous too. Also, honestly, Spider-Man as a whole is like the Spider-Man mythos as a whole is just kind of a jumbled mess when you really look at it. And we still love the character for some reason. Huh? I'm not gonna question it. I like him. I think he's cool. Now we move on to the thing everyone loves in these movies: his relationship with Gwen Stacy. Damn, it's good. There's just this level of chemistry that they have in these movies that we haven't been able to see in any of the other movies. It's freaking dope. I don't entirely know how they managed that level of chemistry, but whatever tips you had, whatever tricks you did, tell everyone else so that they can do better. I heard somewhere that they were actually like dating off screen. I don't know if that's true. I feel like maybe it isn't, or maybe it could be. I don't know. So as far as I'm aware, that's kind of generally how things go with this kind of stuff. So like whatever. Also, I know a lot of people got in a big huff because Uncle Ben doesn't say with great power comes great responsibility, and they don't say it in the MCU either. Whatever. Whatever. It doesn't matter. Also, hey, geniuses, Uncle Ben never actually said that in the comics. Maybe he said it after. Maybe he said it sometime after the Sam Raimi trilogy came out. Or maybe slightly before. But in the actual original comics that everyone keeps saying, oh, but in the comics, this, that, and the other thing. In the original comics, Uncle Ben never actually said that. No one in the actual comic actually said that. It was a little box of text from Stan Lee himself. Stan said that. No one in the Spider-Man mythos ever actually said, with great power comes great responsibility. That was Stan's contribution. Most of it is Stan's contribution, but you know what I mean. So with everyone getting in a huff about why didn't Uncle Ben say the line that we all know he said, because he didn't say it. That was never his line. That was never his grand line until the Sam Raimi trilogy came out. And now everyone tries to point at The Amazing Spider-Man and say, Uncle Ben didn't say the thing. Too bad. Suck it up. And like I said in the last video, you can disagree with me all you want. I don't care enough to be angry with you. I just don't. I don't have the energy to. I don't know how you people do it. People get passionately, furiously angry about these movies, and I just don't get it. I don't get it, man. I think maybe I kind of was able to deal with it at first, but then it just kept happening. I just kept seeing it. I'm burned out, man. I'm burned out. I don't have the energy to argue with you. I just don't. I want to put my opinions out there. You can agree with them or not. I don't care anymore. Disagree with them or don't. Whatever. It's not going to affect my life. My opinion is not going to affect your life. You know, just exist in our own separate corners? Can we coexist together? Without trying to freaking burn each other at the stake because we like a different version of Spider-Man? What is this? Back to actually talking about the movie. Freaking The Parents. That was new. That was a new thing that we had never seen in any Spider-Man media ever. Before or since. except for kind of in the comic books, or maybe they're S.H.I.E.L.D. agents, I think. Secretly? Something? I don't know. The computer went into sleep mode because I wasn't pushing buttons. That's not allowed. No, come back to life. I need to see that my audio is recording good. So yeah, that was a weird subplot that kind of ended up not really going anywhere. Except for it to tell us that only that had to be Peter that got bit. Because if it was anyone else, it wouldn't have worked. Peter was the chosen one because it was his dad's DNA. I kind of don't like that. Part of the appeal of the character is that it could have just been anyone. Peter just so happened to be the guy that got bit. That a big part of the fun of this character is that he could be anyone really. Peter just so happened to be the one that got bit by the spider, so okay, he's Spider-Man. Sure, okay. He wasn't destined for it, it just happened. That's why there's so many other universes where, so many other timelines where it's not Peter Parker. Maybe it's Miles Morales. Maybe it's Gwen Stacy. Maybe it's Penny Parker. Maybe it's Miguel O'Hara. Maybe it's Peter Parker's daughter. Maybe it's Uncle Ben, and the entire world gets destroyed or something, and then he's the only one left alive for whatever reason. And he's all sad and lonely because all his wife and nephew are dead. As far as I know, that didn't get a comic line on its own. We only ever heard about that because of the Spider-Verse comic book line, not the movie. The original comic book run of Spider-Verse, I think, was the introduction to that. But yeah, that happened. That was real. So yeah, now knowing that they were planning a bunch of different sequels and spin-offs, it's very clear they were trying to set up something with the parents. So I have no clue what that was going to be. I don't think any of us do. Probably someone does. I don't know. I'd be fascinated to learn what it is, and quite frankly, I kind of wish that there was a third movie so that we could have seen where they were going to go with it. Maybe it would have been terrible. Maybe it would have been amazing. Spectacular, even. I have no way of knowing. I don't freaking know. Also, there's that basement in Oscorp that just has the tech necessary to make a bunch of other supervillains. Why are Doc Ock's arms in there when the whole thing is that he made the arms himself and then went crazy? Also, the Rhino maybe could have been done a bit better. Speaking of which, the opening of the second one, not with the parents. Forget the parents. We all forget about the parents. Whatever, doesn't matter. I'm talking about when we actually see Spider-Man swinging through New York trying to stop the truck. That scene is fun as hell. I've seen a lot of people point out the fact that Spidey kind of seems like he's just joking around when a bunch of lives are at stake. And yeah, okay, that's a fair argument. But also, there's probably an argument to be made that maybe his spider sense told him how many people were in this respective cars and if the impact was going to kill them. He could use his spider sense to tell that these particular cars either were parked and empty, or they only had the one guy in it, and the car was going to get hit from the right, but then the driver was going to be just fine. Maybe you can say that. That's an argument that can be made. I'm not saying I'm making that argument. I'm saying that that's the argument that can be made, because we see him turn the car. At one point, we see him turn the truck to not hit a bunch of cars. So, I don't know. And then he uses spider sense to tell that it's about to hit this bus with a bunch of people in it, and this father and his daughter walking on by it. And so he stops that from happening. So if he can sense that, then it makes sense that he can sense the other people who were in the other cars that the truck just ran over. Or maybe Spider-Man's just being careless. I don't know. Either way, that's not the explanation we're given. And it does just kind of look like Spider-Man's just meandering along while people are potentially dying. So that's kind of the general assumption. So prove otherwise. If that's not what actually happened, prove otherwise, and then we can say that that's what it is. But we have no proof that it is anything but that. So that's not great. That being said, the second movie is overall a lot more fun of a watch. It's a lot more of a fun time than the first one is. But that's really just because the first one is trying a lot harder to be all like grim and gritty. Kind of dark and gritty, kind of, sort of. Which again, I don't hate. But that makes the second one feel a lot more fun. Even if you can say, oh, it has the same problem as before, to where it's too many villains. And like, yeah, there's a lot of subplots going on. There's Peter and Harry. There's Peter and Gwen. There's Harry and Max. There's Spidey and Max, or Electro. Max Dillon, Electro, same. That's his name. Electro's name is Max Dillon. In case you didn't watch the movie and didn't know that, or maybe you knew that still without watching the movie. I don't know. Whatever. I don't know what you know. I don't know you at all. I don't know who's watching this. I know I'm recording this and hoping that a bunch of Spider-Man fans listen to it, but I don't know if that's happening. So, is my mic staying in the way? No, it isn't. Okay, good. My mic stand is like right here next to the lens, so I didn't know if it was on camera. What else can I say about these movies? They have gotten to basically everything I wanted to talk about. This recording is a lot shorter than my talk about the Sam Raimi movies. Probably because there was 3 of those, and there's only 2 of these. And, like, basically everything that could be said about these 2 movies has already been said. So I'm not adding much to the conversation. I'm just, whatever, I'll put in my 2 cents. It's not going to hurt anything, is it? Is there anything else I can say? I don't know. The Gwen Stacy's death really, really hits. They did something right for that to actually hit really good. Even for people who don't like the entire rest of the movie, everyone says the general unanimous agreement is that the relationship between Peter and Gwen is really good. So much so that it actually does hurt when she dies. I guess that's it. I guess that's all I got for these 2 movies. I was expecting to record more, but I guess not. Okay. That's the end of that. That's the end of that. Yes. Oh, and also, the first Amazing Spider-Man has probably one of the best Stan Lee cameos ever. One of the best. I'm not saying it's the number 1. That honor goes to Ant-Man and the Wasp. Well, the 60s were fun, but now I'm paying for it. That's really good. That's number 1. My second favorite is Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, where he's with the Watchers. Because it just makes sense. Yeah, I guess that's it. I guess that's the end of this. Okay, bye. Yeah, I don't know how to end videos. I did know at one point. I think. Probably. Then I lost my flow somehow. I don't know how to get it back. Help me, I'm scared. Anyway, see you next time for the MCU Spidey. That'll be fun. Okay, bye.